So today we have Judy, who is going to talk about email marketing. So it's an important subject. We as a family are very much into growth hacking, and we do a lot of talks and training programs around this subject. And just this morning I was talking with a few students of Coup d'etat growth hacking, and we're exchanging about email campaigns and how you could make impact with email campaigns. So obviously Christmas is a huge topic for a lot of people. So Judy is going to give you the best practice about that. So if you want to get started, here we go.
Hi everyone. We have a pretty small group today, so yeah, feel free to ask me any questions if you want. Interrupt me if I speak too fast. This workshop is to help you plan your Christmas campaign and make sure you get the most out of your emailing. So just by ways of introduction, I am the CMO of MailJet. We are an email service provider. We send both marketing and transactional emails, and we work with clients and friends, the likes of Galeria Lafayette, La Fourchette, small companies as well. So we have quite some experiences in emailing. And so today's presentation is going to focus on just the Christmas holiday emailing. If you want to tweet us at MailJet or tweet me for any follow-up questions, you're welcome to do so. So let's get started. But before we get started, I wanted to understand who's here. What kind of emailing are you thinking of doing this holiday season? Are you thinking of doing any emailing for your company or enterprise? Yes? Yes?
Hi, so we're working at BlaBlaCar actually.
Great.
So for Christmas, we're thinking about sending email to push people or to publish a trip or to book a trip. So it's emailing to push activity.
Great. Okay. Anyone else? What kind of, it's for me to understand how to tailor my speech. So there's a service company, maybe there's an e-commerce company. So the types of emailing are very different for both. So for me, if you can tell me what kind of emailing or what kind of product or services you're trying to promote this Christmas season, it will really help me with this presentation.
Hello. So
Hi.
actually, my company doesn't exist yet, so I may not be ready for any emailing for holiday, but maybe for Valentine's. And it will be a product company focused on personalization. So the idea is to push people to buy gifts to other people or to buy things for themselves. So it's product related.
Okay.
But it's,
E-commerce, yes? Yeah. Okay. So we have e-commerce, we have a service company. Anyone else wants to share? Okay, all right. So it's really important for you to keep the statistics in mind, because as you think about emailing during the holidays, what we're seeing at MailJet is that during the fourth quarter is our busiest month. In France also, Q1 is very strong for us, but in fourth quarter, in November and December especially, the email volume is up 50%. So the competition to the inbox is extremely intense, and you really need to start planning ahead earlier on to get in the battle. This is an example of what Christmas is like for email marketers. They are, I've talked to many email marketers and I've seen many campaigns. A lot of them are fighting the same battle over and over again. They're seeing the same campaigns, click rates, open rates, in the same fashion, and they're trying to optimize their ability to get into the inbox, which is deliverability, their ability to get people to open their emails so that people know what kind of messages they're trying to deliver, as well as engagement. They want people to click on either a click to purchase or a click to refer people or click to review a product. So that competition is super intense during the holiday season. And This is a reference to The Edge of Tomorrow, the battle that Tom Cruise is fighting every day, reliving the nightmare every day. I don't know if it's a big movie, but apparently people don't really know about it here. Okay, that's okay. This is an example of my inbox just from Amazon. So we're looking at, 58 emails in 2 months, just from one sender. And this is not unusual at all. Any big senders send a ton of emails during the holiday season. And you can see from December, it's almost an email a day or 2 emails a day. November, it's about 3 emails a week. But any other time during the year, you're looking at frequency of 2 emails a week in general. So they're really trying to up their game, getting into the inbox, bombarding you with all these promotional emails. Let me just see. So the Adobe Digital Index forecasts that in France, in November and December this year, there will be $15 billion, I think, it's in dollars that are going to be spent on e-commerce. And most of the email volume actually comes from the e-commerce sector. So just so I tell you, I think based on the report, the biggest day, the busiest day in France is December 7th. So December 7th has the highest e-commerce purchase rate. What that means is leading up to that date, the first week of December, you're competing with a lot more e-commerce players who want to promote their products, services, who want to send you free shipping emails, so on and so forth. So if you're a product company, the first week of December is not the best week to send emails if you want to promote your product, because you're going to compete with a ton more e-commerce players. So today's workshop, it's going to focus on 3 parts. One is preparation. So preparation is half the battle, really. I'm going to tell you exactly what to prepare and how to prepare for your Christmas campaign. We're the 12th of November today, correct? So we're a bit late to the game, but you can still catch up. Don't worry. The second part of the presentation is really on content and design. I will show you kind of how the big brands do their content, how they design their email, what's really important to create the right content for the right segment. So feel free to ask me any questions you may have during then. I assume people will have questions. The last part is really regarding email deliverability, which is a very, very important thing. You could plan for your email campaign starting in October, you put a lot of effort into it, and then you work with a designer on the email content and then figure out the right people to send it to, but then your email ends in spam, which means all your effort is down the drain. So what I want to really highlight here is the list of tips that are going to help you optimize your deliverability, especially when you're not using an ESP who can help you with that. ESP meaning email service providers like MailJet. Any questions? Anything else you want me to cover? No? Okay, good. So preparation. There are 3 things I wanted to talk about here. Before you start strategizing your email campaign, there are 3 C's. People talk about the 4 P's for marketing. I'm talking about 3 C's. The customer behavior, the competitive research, and the current trends. Especially for the holiday season, these 3 C's are very, very important. When we talk about the customer behavior, it's looking at your past engagement with your customers. So looking at your email list data, looking at who has clicked on your email, who has opened your email. Make sure that you understand what types of communication lead to better open rate, better click rates. So this is all about getting into the psyche of your customer through the data that you have on hand, whether it's on email or on social media channel. You can actually do a ton of analysis based on the past campaigns you've already delivered. The second thing is competitor research. Why is this important? Because you're competing with them to the inbox. So if you're selling BlaBlaCar, I don't know if you're competing with Uber or some like-minded services. They might be pushing out a whole new strategy. Like, for example, BlaBlaCar is safe, right? Or Uber is the most convenient way, the safest way to travel long distance. Maybe they're getting into your market. You need to understand what's happening in the competitive landscape so you can one-up their game. What that means is subscribe to your competitor's mailing list to do some recon. If you know of some services, I think this is something that you should already be doing. You should know who your competitors are, but what their activities are and what their messages are during the holiday season is something that could help you craft your own. Because if you're saying the same things, or if you're not offering the same kind of promotion, then people are not going to be interested in whatever you're offering. So it's very important for you to know what your competition's doing. Last thing is really current trends. So are there any viral trends that are going on this year? For example, if you're selling, I don't know, women's dresses, Michelle Obama's dresses this year has been talked about over and over again. So there are some pretty interesting trends in terms of, say, movie trends. The 007 is just coming out. The Star Wars is coming out at the end of the year. What can you use? What can you jump on that are already top of mind in people's head to help them connect with your brand? It's really important. There's a blog on our website. Our MailJet blog actually talks about the strategy. So to know what's hot right now, you can use the tools such as BuzzSumo. It's pretty good. It tells you what the current trends, what the keywords, what the key messages are trending right now. Google Trends also tell you the search volume of a specific word, specific phrase. For anything like, I guess, if you want to monitor your brand's reputation, what other people are saying about your brand leading up to the holidays, Mention is a very good tool. It crawls the net for every time there's a blog or a social media entry that mentions your brand. So that's something that you can consider as well. BuzzSumo. It's on our blog. If you go to mailjet.com/blog, you'll find the strategies, and then it's one of the tools that we listed. Anything else? Any questions? No? Okay. So once you have the strategy down, you know who your competitors are, what they're doing, you know what the current trends are, and you have a good idea what's worked well for you in the past for your customers. It's time to define goals. What that means is 4 things. Who exactly do you want to talk to or target this holiday season? How do you want to segment them? Is it based on their profile, their gender? Do you have specific product offering that would entice, say, a different age group? Do you have something that would only work well in France, not in the UK? So regional segmentation. It's really important to segment your communication accordingly because people tune out very quickly. The average time a given person spends on emails 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. If you don't provide value in your communication, people are likely not going to click on your email again. There's one saying about content, which is, stop interrupting people for what they're interested in, but be something that they're interested in. So what that means is, you have 10 seconds to capture attention. Segmentation plays a key role in how you can craft your content. So figuring out who you want to go after, how you want to go after them, meaning how much. There are different ways you can reach your potential customers or community through social media channels, through email. What we're seeing on email is that it has a much higher conversion rate, and on social media, it's a really good tool to supplement email. And the most used cases on social media we see are product reviews, brand awareness. If someone likes your service, they're gonna comment on it. You can then use it in your email communication to drive adoption, drive conversion. But social media is not the best way to drive conversion or drive purchases over the holiday season. So you need to understand how much you want to spend on email and how much you want to spend on social media. Just so I have a good understanding of your budget understanding, how much do you think an email costs? Sending one email? Any wild guess? 3 what? 3 cents, okay. 3 cents, okay. What about a Facebook or Twitter card? 1 impression, 1 lead. So you're really spot on about the social media conversion cost. Yeah, it's 57 to maybe 150. There's a different range depending on how competitive the market is. But for email, you are off by 100-fold. So it's 100 times cheaper. Yeah. So email is really a really affordable way to get customers or get conversions if you are budget conscious, which I'm assuming all the startups are. Questions? No? Okay. So you've decided who you're going to talk to, how you're going to segment them, how much you're going to spend to reach them. So how that depends on the frequency of email sending, frequency of social media communication. You already have that budget in mind. Then you need to understand what you want to send. So I'll go through a few examples of the type of emailing that people typically target during the holiday season. But defining what, are you promoting a product? Are you trying to get referral? Are you trying to increase your brand awareness, maybe for the launch of your company or product in the future? You want to start building your community list. What is your goal? How are you going to get there? That plays into a lot of the goal definition here. And then lastly, once you have all 3 elements, it's about when you're going to send them. Like, are you going to try to compete with all the e-commerce players within the first week? Maybe you have to if you have a product to push and you know that people are going to spend money on the 7th of December in France. But maybe not. Maybe you want to wait a little bit, depending on the purpose of your communication, after the peak season, after the most busiest inbox time. So scheduling, the number of sending that you have a week on each channel, say, 3 emails a week and 2 social media push or something like that is very important, because then that also helps you manage your budget so that you don't overspend. Make sense? Okay. It's so weird. Okay, so this is just an example of the types of email communication that you can expect in your inbox in November and December. So in November, I know that Black Friday and Cyber Monday are not huge holidays in France, but in Europe, in the UK, if you have cross-border sales or cross-border promotions, it's actually pretty big. In addition to the US, which is one of the origin of where Black Friday comes from. In November, a lot of companies are also pushing for the download of their mobile app because in a multi-channel, omni-channel era, which is the era that we're in, a lot of the engagement happen on mobile, and mobile app is the most efficient way to get people to purchase, convert to revenue, consumers to revenue. On mobile app is the most efficient way. You can still do that with email, but I'll tell you a little bit more about how to do that in email in a little bit. Essentially, you need a landing page. So you can reduce the friction to purchase and spending with a landing page so that everything that you want to promote to the user or the customer can be converted to dollars right away. So there's mobile app. There's also, because the holiday season's coming up, there are gift guides that are working really well. They, instead of just promoting one item, a lot of companies are starting to send gift guides. Here are your 10 best gift guides for your husband or for your wife or for your kids. The gift guides, emails typically work really well because people are looking for ideas and they're short of them. And if you put the gift guide in the subject line, people know what to expect and they will open your email at least. So that works really well. Also free gift wrapping, shipping emails for e-commerce players, product promotion, say BlaBlaCar may have a Christmas special discount, maybe, I'm just saying, for November. That's also the typical emails that we see. For December, there's, of course, order by Christmas delivery. Everyone's really top of mind. They want to get their gifts on time, so they can go to their Christmas gathering with gifts in hand. Christmas charity emails. So a lot of brands are trying to play up the social angle during the holiday season to get people to understand what kind of social responsibility types of activities they're doing. So you'll see that as well. It's a good opportunity for your brand to do that as well. Holiday greetings. Nothing promotional, but just saying, hey, happy holidays, that type of email. We see quite a lot in the inbox as well. And then last minute shopping after Christmas sale, which is more important for the French market since the sales season starts in January. So early January, there's also a continuum of high volume emails sent through our French customers. And it's because of the sales season. On our website, there is a holiday toolkit that I don't know how to show you exactly. So can you scroll down? So we prepared kind of this timeline to help you plan your Christmas sending. And below, there are some guides for you to quickly download. You can ask any questions that you may have. Exactly, yeah. There's a weekly question, and there are lots of blog articles that could help you gain a little bit more insights, have more details into my talk. So, thanks. Just wanted to let you guys know. Yes. Perfect. So yeah, planning, preparation is everything. So I talked about at the beginning how to strategize what kind of the 3 C's, what kind of things you should think about before you start planning your campaign. And I talked about basically how to set goals and how to talk about, how to assess what types of emails make sense for you from a content perspective, just content idea mapping perspective. So these are all the prep work that you need to keep in mind. Any questions? No? Okay, just scratching your head. Okay, so next part is content and design. So in this section, I'm gonna show you quite a few examples of what are the good kind of email design and content, so you can take notes. This is just a summary, a checklist of how to optimize your content and design. Number one, I already talked about, which is personalize your content. You do need to personalize whenever possible. Personalization is done through segmentation of your contact list. So looking at personalization through your subject line, addressing people by their first name in the subject line increases open rate. In the content, address them based on their past behavior. Maybe they have purchased a skirt or a pair of shoes from you. You could give them personalized recommendations that way. But personalization is super, super important. The second point is awesome subject line is absolute key. The reason behind this is if you don't have a cool subject line that attracts attention of people, they're not going to open your email and they won't see the beautiful design and visual and promotion that you include in that email. So having something that would really catch people's attention and make people want to read, a little bit like BuzzFeed, but try to be creative about the subject line. And I'll talk more about that. Mobile, think mobile. So over 50% of the sales actually through Google, they did a report, are done through mobile during the holiday. So you want to make sure you have the right design that's mobile friendly, and I'll talk more about that. And then this number 4, using landing page to boost your email is something that I talked about just now about apps. So apps is really good for conversion. People open your app, you can have very tailored conversation with them in app, but what if you don't have an app? That's okay. If you don't have an app, you should download a landing page. You should create a landing page so that whatever you want to promote in an email is one click to the landing page and one click to purchase or conversion. And lastly, don't forget your transactional email. So transactional email here talks about welcome email, password reset, talks about subscription confirmation, order delivery, invoices. There are opportunities for you to upsell, in which I'll show you some examples. So number 1, personalization. Really personalized emails like audience, product, brand message, key topics and themes. Something that strikes us is the key topics and themes and content format and visual. We did a post not too long ago, a few months ago, that talks about the psychology of color and how men are more likely to respond to an email design that is of cooler color, blue, gray, white, and where women are more likely to respond to warmer color, orange, red, rose. And it's really subtle, but it actually makes a difference. So examples like this makes you think about how to segment better to promote different products to different gender. So something to think about. Brand identity is really important for you to include in all types of content, and I'll show you how one brand does it really well. Any questions? No? Okay. Before we see some examples, just note of caution, and I kind of snuck this in here because this is part of the content and design work. Essentially, there are words that are going to trip the spam alarm. For deliverability reason, you don't want to include any of these words in the subject line or the content. As much as possible, you should avoid them because the ISPs, the internet service providers, the likes of Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, they're on high alert during the holiday season, and they pick up, their algorithm actually picks up a lot of these spam-like words. Again, on our blog has a complete list in English as well.
I was just wondering why words like free or are considered spam.
It's not considered spam, so I want to try to avoid gratuit, because it's a word that alerts to the algorithm of the ISPs, the spam traps of ISPs, that this could potentially be a spam. So the algorithm isn't purely based on words. It's based on content, it's based on image to text ratio, it's based on the sender name, sender address, a whole host of things, and each ISP has a different spam algorithm. This could trip one of their alarms and make sure that, your scoring on the spam side won't do too well. Good question, though. Okay. So key elements of a visual, an image-based email. During the holiday, you may think maybe you want to send a text email, but if you're promoting a product or services, a text email doesn't allow you to put forth your brand identity very well. So the brand logo, the brand color, the brand message. With text, you can still do a lot. If you try to be humorous, you can still convey a brand voice, but it's not as powerful as an image-based email. So today, I'm going to focus more on image-based email. So you'll see there's a header, there's a call to action, main content, and social sharing. If you don't take away anything, take away this. These 4 elements you should include in every single image-based email. The top header and banner, it's really important for you to kind of capture people's attention. If you have one single product you want to promote, one message you want to promote, you want to put it in the top banner. Some brands also put a call to action button in the top banner, which is totally fine also. But you want to make sure the call to action button is at least in the first fold. So if people have to scroll down to see your call to action button, then that's too late. They have to be able to see the call to action button as soon as they open the email. So that's what you should keep in mind. Yes?
In mobile, the call to action will be not in the first row. Usually when I do email in desktop, then the call to action is okay. But when you go to mobile, then it goes down. So unless I put it like really on top, I cannot see it.
I think what the message here is, the key message here is that you shouldn't put the call to action button too far down. I think it's fine to not let it be the first thing people see on their mobile. It kind of puts people off. But right after the first thing they see, they should see a call to action button. Yeah. A lot of brands actually cut their email quite short this year. This is something that we're seeing. So instead of having, say, all the products that are listed on sale, they condense their message down into, say, 2 or 3 parts only. So you may not even need the main content part if you don't have to. The key is not to be too wordy, be very concise in whatever you want to deliver, and stick to it. And then the last section that I talked about was social sharing. Make sure you have social sharing buttons on your email, because there may be a certain design or certain message that you promote that might strike someone's fancy and they want to share it with their friends. That would allow you to increase your clout on social media through your email. It's kind of a no-brainer. You should always include that. There are some ways that you can actually insert, so through the passport tool, the campaign creation tool with MailJet, you can actually insert automated tweet or Facebook message through the social sharing button. So when people click on it, there's already content, the right message you want them to broadcast to their network. So that's another thing that you should think about. Questions? Okay. I talked about how 50%, more than 50% of the holiday sales conversions are going to happen on mobile, and we're just going to see this trend more and more. You want to make sure that when you design an email, it's completely responsive. You can either use HTML. Our tool, Passport, it's automatically responsive. But the key to mobile is really, if you think about mobile, it's not really just, I didn't put a Apple Watch or a Moto 360 on it. Imagine how they would read their email on their watch, right? So you want to be as precise and concise as possible. Use pre-header. If you don't already, pre-header is a huge asset. In addition to subject line, it could help you convey more of a more attractive message to get them to open. So pre-header, it's really cool. Buttons are much better than text links, because text links takes up a lot of real estate. If you have a really long link, people get put off. If you can put a button there instead of a text link, it will be better. A lot of times the coupons don't work on mobile, which is strange. So it's something that you should think about. If someone were to apply a coupon from an email they open on the Apple Watch, somehow the links could be broken. You want to make sure that when you create a responsive email, you test it on all devices possible. For email, Litmus is a really good tool to help you test different devices. Okay? All right. So this is an example, a French example of a good marketing email that we see have ton of open rate and click rates. So what I really like about this email, it's super clean, concise, it's very short, you don't need to scroll, you see it all in one go. The Andre brand name, it's really kind of visual, it's on top, you know exactly what they are. It's very aligned with their visual identity on their website, which is really cool. Their call to action is in this first section, the first main banner, which is something that's super easy for people to identify and see. They actually also use something cool, which is they use a GIF on top. So to highlight the call to action banner, the main banner, the header banner, and the call to action button, they actually have this sparkly silver rim that kind of just moves around. So you can't help but be drawn to it. So I thought, you can't really see it here, but yeah, I thought it's really cool. The other two things they do really well is this part. So at the bottom, you see this little box that says, prepare for your Christmas with Andre, and it's gifts for him and gifts for her. And each of these buttons lead to a landing page for just him or her gifts, where you can find exactly what you want and you can make purchase decisions really quickly. So I thought that's really cool. The last thing is social sharing. So they include Instagram and Pinterest because they're an e-commerce company. They need to be very visual, and people want to see how a product looks on people. And you find a lot of the images on Instagram and Pinterest. So in addition to Facebook and Twitter, they have all these social sharing buttons at the bottom. Questions? Okay. This is the last part of my tips was from the content to the design. Transactional email actually has a ton of opportunity for you to upsell. So going back to the example of Amazon, I really like Amazon. So you see all my inbox has the Amazon emails, and I just keep them. I never delete them. Essentially, it's a very white-based email. So under the last example, you see it's dark. It contrasts the main messages. But Amazon's very clean. You know what to expect from it. And they purposely do it this way because it's a transactional email. You just want the right information. You don't want to be dazzled, right? You want to find out when your order is going to be delivered to where, and the details of your order. So what I mean by upselling is that they also propose a lot of different products at the bottom of the transactional email that's related to the product that you just bought. So something to think about. You can actually promote other products within the transactional email. What you need to be conscious of is that promotional content, you see it's tiny. It cannot outweigh the rest of the email content. There's a rule, otherwise it's not gonna be classified by the regulators as a transactional email. You need to make sure to keep the promotional elements to the minimum, but you can still do that within the transactional email. So I use Uber a lot. I use it everywhere I go. It is, for their transactional email, they're personalized, and then there are two other parts that are really cool for their transactional email. One is that there's a human face to the email that makes you think that it's not a robot. And that creates a connection with people, and people would subconsciously want to continue to use your service because you're not a robot. They know it's, they're interacting with someone real. And the second thing is referral. So for a service, in the transactional email context, they've, it's a confirmation of an action that the customer or the user has already done, right? And what that means is it's a golden opportunity for them to get other people to do the same action. So Uber actually has this referral program all the time. Refer a friend, and they will get some benefit, you will get some benefit. So something to think about in your transactional email. This will help you increase reach almost effortlessly. Questions? Let me see if I miss anything. Okay. All right, so just to recap, personalize your content through segmentation. Awesome subject line will go really far. Don't underestimate it. And pre-headers while we're at it. Think mobile. Using landing page to boost your email conversion. And don't forget your transactional email. So 5 key takeaways for content and the design. Questions? No? Okay. Next up, deliverability. How much do you guys know about deliverability? Do you know what it means? No? I think you might have to repeat it.
And the other ones will be lost.
I think you might have to repeat it because...
So among the email requests you will send, the number of email you want to send to people, some part of it will actually arrive in their mailbox. So this is delivered messages.
Exactly. So what is deliverability? It's the emails that actually gets delivered to the inbox. So I'll talk a little bit about promotion tab, because that's also the inbox, but it's just a different tab on Gmail. There are tons of emails who don't get delivered because they are stale, like old email addresses or email addresses that are no longer valid, that are considered as kind of something that you should clean out of your contact list. And I'll talk more about contact lists in a little bit. But deliverability is super important, because if your email arrives in spam, which is really dommage, you spend all these time creating the content and design. If it arrives in spam, it's really not gonna help you, not your business, no, not anyone actually, because people actually don't really look at the spam box. So, no spam policy. How do you first not get your email in the spam box? The first thing you should do before you start sending your holiday email campaign is clean your contact list. And I know it's tempting, but you should really not purchase a list. There are many solutions out there that sell email lists at a price, contacts who may or may not be interesting for you, but since you're just starting out and especially relevant for startups, purchasing a contact list will do damage in 3 ways. Number 1, it will actually tarnish your IP reputation, your domain reputation. If you bought a domain, say mybestshoes.com, I like shoes, mybestshoes.com, for example, and then you start your email campaign with a purchase list, people at the ISPs, such as Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, will see mybestshoes.com as a spammer. And you can never go back. Once you have a bad reputation on your domain, there's very little you can do about that. So for us, we work with Boulanger, the electronic e-commerce store. I think they also sell in-person, in-store as well. So they're really big here. Boulanger.fr, it's great brand, great reputation. They don't spam. They adhere by the double opt-in rule, which is they always ask subscribers to confirm that they really want to receive email from them through a second email. So they want to expand globally, and when they want to do that is, one way to do that is to change your domain name to boulanger.com. Boulanger.com, unfortunately, was used by another company, and it had very, very, very bad sending reputation. So the domain was blacklisted. So with us, we've had to work with each ISP to make sure that they understand that boulanger.com is no longer operated by spammer. It's operated by this legit sender in France who's taking over, who wants to expand globally. And that's taken quite a long time for us to get that through. But that's kind of the job of the SP, right? Liaise with ISPs, the internet service providers, to help our clients deliver emails to the inbox. But this is just an example. If you tarnish your sending reputation, it will really be difficult for you to revert back. So don't go down that route. So that's number 1. Number 2, the purchase list that you get are people who don't know you, who don't know your brand, who don't want to interact with your brand. So they might very well just mark your email as spam. And when you do, even if the domain isn't tarnished, hasn't been tarnished, when people mark your email as spam, which people can be quite trigger heavy, your sending reputation declines little by little. So there's nothing worse than sending to a list of people that you don't really know just to sell them business and having them tarnish your domain reputation. And at the end, your domain reputation is so bad that you can't even do email campaigns anymore. So this is the second thing. Don't send to people who don't want to receive your emails. You need to get their consent. The number 3, really, if you buy a purchase list, you actually have no idea whether some of the addresses are old or are basically stale, or they're no longer valid. You don't know that. And a lot of the purchase list include addresses such as contact@xyz.com or PR@xyz.com. And they're not real people, and they're the aliases of companies. So you will never be able to verify the quality of your list. Even if the seller of the list guarantees the best quality, you will never know. So that's another reason for not wasting money on purchase list. And to not land in spam, don't buy list. Okay. So I talked a lot about contact list cleaning. What this means is look through your list and find people who have never opened your email in the last 6 months or even a year. Segment them out to a different list and try to re-engage them to ask whether they want to be unsubscribed from your list, or whether they're still interested in receiving your promotion. Give them a choice. This re-engagement campaign is part of the cleaning process. So before you start bombarding them with one email a day during the holiday season, which they will never open if they're not interested in, you're not only wasting money, but also you're tarnishing your reputation. So the less people open your email, the less your deliverability score would be, because the ISPs think that you're spamming them. So it all builds up over time. List cleaning is super important. Your email has to jump through a lot of hoops. So for example, this is how emails get delivered, just very technically. If someone from Dashlane wants to send an email, the emails say they have a list of 20,000 contacts that consist of Hotmail, Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, Orange addresses. They go to MailJet's SMTP server, so our outgoing server, almost like a collection box, like a post office, but we collect email from people, and we dispatch it to different ISPs server, so they're receiving it. So the Gmail has an SMTP server, Yahoo has one, Microsoft has one, and then they decide whether your email is legit, the email addresses is good addresses, whether you're a spammer or not, and they decide on their end whether to return the email, bounce the email, or whether to keep the email but send it to promotion tab, or keep the email, send it to spam. So it's quite technical, really. And contact list cleaning will help all these clear customs. This is how I call it. It's like clearing customs on at each stage, will help clearing customs much faster. So the right ESPs can help you deliver your email to the inbox. And I talked about the Boulanger example. Essentially what you need to think about is where their servers are located. With the safe harbor announcement recently, the European Court of Justice invalidates the Safe Harbor Act. I don't know if you guys know much about it. No? You don't know? Okay. So early 2000, the Safe Harbor Act allows European and US companies to transfer personal data to each other. And US companies would just need to self-certify under the Safe Harbor Act to say that I adhere to data protection policy, your privacy policy in Europe. And we all know EU and US have very different policies when it comes to personal data safety. And so on October 6th, the European Court of Justice rules that the Safe Harbor self-certification theme is no longer valid. And what that means is for French companies, you would need to have some sort of agreement with your US service provider if you use I don't know, MailChimp or, Salesforce or any services on CRM, on accounting, on payment that receives data from you about European citizens and stores and processes it in US. they would need to have a special agreement with you, because if they don't, you are actually more liable for being sued by your consumers, your customers, for sending that data abroad. So server location, long story short, is very important, especially in this period, because European companies should start thinking about using solutions, at least for the time being, until there's a resolution. Start thinking about solutions based in Europe, because if you don't start thinking about this, there are different ways to go around it, and you can read about it on our blog. But if you don't, you're potentially legally liable. If you're sending, say, personal data, contact list, say, profile information of your customers to the US. The servers also need to be whitelisted. So if you are doing email by yourself, you want to make sure that your SMTP server, which I showed you earlier, this SMTP server that you create yourself, is whitelisted by every single ISPs. And that's not an easy feat. That's why, I guess, we exist. Email service providers exist, because we constantly are in touch with ISPs to make sure that their spam algorithm, our services are fine-tuned to make sure that we deliver emails to the inbox in the optimal way. Taking account of the spam algorithm, the server whitelist, and so on and so forth. From a server standpoint, also the share server, dedicated server, you might have heard about dedicated IP and shared IP. A lot of emails are sent through shared IPs, because those IPs have good IP reputation that are accepted by a lot of the ISPs. The ISPs use IP reputation. They have a scoring algorithm to determine whether emails coming from a certain IP are legit, are spams, or are phishing attacks, things like that. So it's very important to have a good IP reputation. If you have your own IP, which some companies do because they don't want to share their IP reputation with other people, then you would need to start building up your reputation a little by little. So I talk about it next. If you are not using an ESP, and you have a large volume of email you need to send through the Christmas period, you need to actually break the email down into smaller batches to warm up your reputation. This is just for someone who want to handle email yourselves. If you work with a ESP, then you don't need to worry about that. Last thing I'm going to talk about, Gmail promotion tab. So emails that are in Gmail promotion tab are marked as delivered. They are they're organized differently, but they are in the inbox. So how do we get around it? You can't really beat it. Google continues to refine their algorithm to identify promotional emails, separate them from transactional email. They do that. They say they do that because not everyone wants to see promotional email at a given time. So they want to make sure that they're grouped in a different way so their users can handle them differently. Marketers are a bit, reluctant to accept that explanation. But to be honest, I think there was a study done. If you do have engaged relationship with your contacts, the Gmail promotion tab is actually not bad for you. Your contacts will go into the promotion tab and search for your email because they want to receive it. So yeah, the open rate declined by, I think the study was done by, I can't remember who, but the open rate for emails that land in promotion tab is actually 1% less for engaged customers. So for people who regularly open your email, the promotion tab is not a bad thing. One way to get people to continue to open your email, even if it lands in promotion tab, is that write like a human. So don't be a robot. Personalization helps with that. If they feel like you know what they like, what you know, who they are, then they're more likely to continue to want to read your content. You can also ask your subscribers to actually move the email to the inbox, so to the primary tab. It's really easy, but once they do that, then Gmail will continue to deliver your email to the primary box. It can be a bit more to ask for, but you know, the other way is get them to add your email address, your sender address to their address book. That will also avoid the promotion tab, but again, it goes a little bit beyond. And lastly, just make sure you continue to deliver quality content so that you have a high rate of opens and clicks. So work with the Gmail promotion tab and don't hate it. Okay, that brings us to the end of the presentation. Do you have any questions? Not a very interactive crowd. Okay, so that is a link for you to go find more information on better holiday emailing. Just mailjet.com, better holiday email marketing. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet at me. I'll try to answer them. So, as a promotion for people who attend this talk, with this code, you get 2 months of Crystal Premium for free. What that means is you can send up to 120,000 emails for absolutely nothing. The promotion expires after the holiday period, so it will expire in February, I think. So you can use it even during the sales season that's coming up. Yes, question.
Yeah, we just started using MailChimp, and I was wondering how MailJet is better than MailChimp.
Well, we're different. I wouldn't say we're better, but of course we're better. Because we're French, right? So 3 things. One is that MailJet is based in France, server in Europe. We have great relationships with Orange, with Wanadu, with Free, SFR. We have lots of great like personal relationships with the internet service provider who could help your deliverability. So that's one. I don't think MailChimp has an office here, nor they speak French. So that's one thing. Second thing is our product is all-in-one. So we serve customers who want to send marketing emails like MailChimp, but also transactional emails like order confirmation, delivery confirmation, subscription, all of those things within one platform. For us, it's a kind of a buffet style, basically, with one platform with a web app and an API. You just have a monthly subscription fee to pay. So that's number 2. Number 3, if you have a ton of contacts on MailChimp and you're past their first kind of entry-level paying plan, you actually have to pay for contacts stored on their server. And even if you don't send anything, you still have to pay a fee because their pricing plan charges the contact list storage as well. For us, you only pay for what you send. So you subscribe to a certain volume plan, and then it's a buffet style. You can use our API, our web app, and yeah, you don't have to worry about storing contact lists. So yeah. And we have cool features too. So.
Do you have a cleaning service?
Sorry, one second.
Sorry, I had
That's
the mic.
okay.
How would you consider, how reliable would you consider the opening rates nowadays? I mean, like the technologies used are easy to block by many email clients, and I was wondering now, would you believe they are really, yeah, how reliable would you consider them?
So the opening rate really is, does anyone know how we know that an email is open? It's the image, it's an invisible image pixel that's embedded in every email. So once that pixel's kind of loaded, we know that the email has been opened. There aren't any technologies that I'm aware of that would block the pixel from opening because it takes very little space. And also it's, yeah, I haven't heard of anything that would block it. So I think email in that opening rate regard, email has seen a ton of innovations in terms of better segmentation tool, better contact list management tool, a better testing tool, analytics, so on and so forth. But for open rate, it's something that hasn't changed very much. It's pretty, I would say it's pretty solid and reliable at the moment. And then you have a question.
Yeah, I just want to know if you have a cleaning address service available without being subscribers.
So there are many service providers that help you clean your contact list. And cleaning meaning you want to remove those that are old, that are no longer valid, right? So these cleaning services actually send to the list of contacts you want to remove and pick out those that are no longer working, that are bounced or that are returned, and then they give it back to you. And in doing that, they actually burn through their IP reputation to try to do that. So MailJet, we continue to encourage people to grow your contact list organically through social media campaigns, through your website. There are different ways to offer promotions to get people to opt into your list. And you need to manage that quite vigilantly to make sure you have an engaged list. We don't offer a cleaning service because that's not the best practice that we preach at MailJet. But there are solutions out there that you could use. I can't recommend any officially though.
Okay.
Okay, so I think that's it. Well, thank you guys for coming. I hope you find this useful. And if you have any questions, I'll stick around for a little bit if you want to chat.